Wall Street gets into Bitcoin is by attacking it first. They suppress the price, they scare the public, they shake out weak hands because they refuse to let their clients buy the top. It's quite simple at the end of the day. And one of the biggest banks just surrendered. This week, Bank of America, one of the most anti-Bitcoin banks on the planet, every bank's anti-Bitcoin because it renders them moot, has quietly flipped. After years of mocking it, blocking it, banning advisors from even mentioning it, just like everyone else, suddenly, all of a sudden, they're bending the knee. They're recommending it. Starting January 5th, Merrill and private bank advisors can officially push Bitcoin ETFs as a normal part of a healthy portfolio. Normal part of a healthy portfolio. Interesting. You have to see the pattern. They attack it publicly so they can accumulate it privately. Wall Street, that is. They deny it on camera while opening the floodgates behind closed doors. It's the same playbook JP Morgan ran. It's the same playbook Vanguard ran. Now, Bank of America is running it too. And here's why this matters for you. Every time a giant capitulates, that advantage shifts towards people who already own Bitcoin, in self-custody, that is, and further away from those waiting for permission, waiting to do their homework, waiting to remove ego. Whether anyone likes it or not, as Ayn Rand once wrote, you can ignore reality, but you can't ignore the consequences of ignoring reality. This is the next monetary revolution. And the people who benefit most, not all, but most, are the ones who get ahead of the institutions and self-custody their Bitcoin before they try to turn the Bitcoin into another Wall Street casino. Try to turn Bitcoin, I should say, into another Wall Street casino. Let's have a little chat about why Bank of America made this move, but more importantly, what they're hiding and what you must do to stay sovereign before the next wave hits. Let's get into this. So January 5th, 2026, Bank of America will allow Merrill and their private wealth clients, if you will, into Bitcoin. So again, attack the price. Price goes down once again. And here we are. They're not going to let their clients just scoop up all-time high Bitcoin. No. That's not how this game works. Wall Street fear and greed won't let that happen. The coordination that goes on behind the scenes is beyond really anyone's comprehension, let alone people that are just out here pontificating and reading headlines and doing their homework. But even the people inside the Beltway, even inside Wall Street, the coordination goes beyond anything you could ever imagine. I used to cheat at the game of Monopoly as a child. I'd be the banker. I'd steal money as much as I could. I'd take a couple extra hundreds here and there when no one noticed. There's nothing on the line other than I wanted to beat my sister. It was pride, it was ego, it was competitive streak in me. If you don't believe that the people in the highest positions of power all across the world aren't cheating with toes on scales, skimming here and there, then I have oceanfront property to sell you in Nebraska. This is very simple. Bitcoiners tend to get this for the most part, but this is where the rest of the world is really starting to wake up over the last few years, last 20 years, but especially over the last 5 years. This world that we are entering and the manipulation that goes on, that's what Wall Street is. It's a manipulation factory. It's there to siphon you away from your wealth, fees, siphon you away from your time and energy, the currency itself, taxes, siphon you away from your Bitcoin. So starting next month, the start of the year, Bank of America will allow their higher end clients to get into Bitcoin, a 1 to 4% acceptable exposure for a healthy portfolio. So the Merrill Lynch private bankers, their advisors can recommend regulated Bitcoin ETFs. Ooh, that gives you the warm and fuzzies. Ooh, ETFs. Ooh, it's truly an insult. You can figure out how to drive a car, fly a plane, work your iPhone inside and out, do all these amazing things. But for some reason, people can't figure out self-custody. They're just got those golden shackles, those golden handcuffs, keeping them in there because of who knows what. Got these little penalties over here, these little fees. Isn't it remarkable that a couple fees, a couple little percentages of tax will keep people in the cage? They'll keep you right in that cage. Pretty wild. So they'll let the ETFs from Fidelity be your cage, or BlackRock, or Bitwise. No, you can do that. So this is no longer the execution only strategy they've been using, Bank of America, that is, but this is advisor driven onboarding. Again, the same thing that Bitcoin has been saying for a long time. This is going to continue happening. It's inevitable as news gets out, as education gets out about Bitcoin itself, then all money correlates to one, to the hardest money that humans have currently. Now, in 100 years or 500 years, whatever, if there's something that can usurp Bitcoin, then guess what? People are going to gravitate to that. But right now, it's Bitcoin. The details that people might miss, though, is, again, this is not direct Bitcoin custody. This is not, they did not open direct Bitcoin custody. They did not embrace self-sovereignty here. They only embraced Wall Street Bitcoin derivatives. That's it. That's it. So, media, framing it as modest, again, if they even cover at all, a lot of these things have been happening. It doesn't even get much coverage because, again, that's part of the game. You have this world where if you're trying to manipulate price, part of that is we don't want to talk it up, right? So insiders, again, know that this is just another institutional green light. Again, fear and greed, something we've been talking about recently. Fear and greed, greed and fear. Wall Street operates in those two realms, as do all humans. However, Wall Street wants your fees. They want to separate from you from your Bitcoin, just like they did gold and silver. Same thing. They want the money. They want the actual money. They want possession of it. They want control of it. They want centralization of it. Or there's a better term I should use even, because sometimes people get confused that you're saying that Bitcoin can be centralized, or that is centralized, or even gold and silver for that matter. But there's nothing stopping me from using gold and silver, and there's nothing stopping me from using Bitcoin. So it's not that those things are centralized themselves, but you're creating this world where more and more of it is out of the hands. If you don't hold it, you don't own it. If you don't have the keys, you don't own it. So that's, again, the details that people need to know. It's not just like the other banks that have come out. It's not something where they're direct custodying it. So again, this is legitimization for most people. Now, again, what's that going to do for the average person? I have no idea. We have the leader of the free world. He was for Bitcoin, apparently. That didn't seem to really do much. If someone else can show me some other evidence, I'm open to it. We have banks, we have sovereign wealth funds, countries mining Bitcoin, countries running on Bitcoin standards, and prices gone up nominally in fiat terms. However, again, some would say, hey, it should be more. But adoption underneath the surface is growing. Hash rate at all-time highs once again. And continually. So the fundamentals have never been stronger. The shift, though, of millions of wealthy baby boomers now being told again that it's normal. However, I do believe, in my opinion, that we're going to see this shift take place over the next 10 years, 20 years, as that generation sunsets and leaves the halls of power, and the money is transferred to the younger generations. So the ETF demand, corporate treasuries, sovereign buyers, they are the persistent bid underneath all this. And this is why Bitcoin has held up pretty well, considering all the attacks and everything that's been going on. But again, the smart money accumulates, or their accumulation strategy is, hey, when we can beat retail down, dumb money, the average person, the average pleb, the 80 IQ pleb, when we can beat them down, shake them out, then we jump in. Then our clients can get in. This is, again, the playbook, the JP Morgan, that everyone's running and everyone's been talking about recently. The Vanguard, it's the same thing. The Bank of America, it's all the same. This is why it's important to come in every single day and having Bitcoin educators and people all across the spectrum talk about self-custody, talk about what is actually important, talk about what's the real revolution. The real, the change is hard to see. Change is very hard to see when you're in it. When you're in the change, people always go back to horses being everywhere, and that picture in 1900, 1901 in New York City, and then 10 years later, it's all cars and one horse, and it's completely different. We're in the middle of that change. We're in the middle of this 30-year transition of generational change, and people understanding that life is not the way it used to be, and it's never going back. So again, banks want to intermediate you away from your Bitcoin. They want to be the mediator. They want to be in the middle of that. ETFs equal fee extraction, paper claims, price volatility harvesting. Wall Street wants to turn Bitcoin into a volatility machine to profit from the options and the structured notes and the margin calls, all the things that we've seen, whether it's the lending and people getting margin called out of their Bitcoin. And that's where even hardcore Bitcoiners creating Bitcoin products, you still have to do your due diligence. You still have to do your homework. You still have to be very careful of what you're doing. Everyone's risk appetite is different. But this is Wall Street's play. It's to siphon you death by a thousand cuts, suck you dry with fees. And then, hey, if we need to take your Bitcoin, great. And if it's centralized, we own the keys to it. So we ultimately do control it. Just like Brian Armstrong said a few years ago, hey, if the government comes to us and asks for the Bitcoin, we are giving them the Bitcoin. We have the keys to it. If you keep it on an exchange, if you keep it at Coinbase, if you keep it in these ETFs, you keep it anywhere but your own cold storage wallet, your own foundation, passport, or core, well, guess what? Your Bitcoin's gone. If you don't have your seed phrase on titanium, guess what? It's gone. This is not about freedom. It's about capturing flows to Wall Street. The game is wedge themselves between you and your Bitcoin the same way they did with gold. Why? Why are they doing this again right now? It's perfect timing. They see the liquidity wave for Q1 aligning with political incentives. We have elections coming up. The administration that's pro, whatever that means, pro crypto assets, whatever you want to call it. Central banks are boxed in. They must ease. They must print. And ETFs are absorbing supply. Institutions are stacking while retail is depressed. And again, a lot of retail doesn't even have cash because they've been hit with higher rates the last few years, inflation. So a lot of retail is strapped right now. So it's a perfect time. It's a perfect time to FUD things down and to create a world where they can get cheaper Bitcoin. They need exposure before the sovereign wealth funds start competing with them. They attack Bitcoin publicly while building behind closed doors. Again, same pattern. JP Morgan, Fidelity, PNC, Vanguard, Morgan Stanley, now Bank of America. This is a coordinated Wall Street feigned or false surrender, disguised as a cautious allocation. Something that I have not heard of. It was something I was thinking of. So I'm curious your thoughts. Do you think this is, what the feigned, the surrender is one of the most dishonorable things you can do in the kinetic military world, banned by the Geneva Convention. But Wall Street fear and greed don't care. They do not care. They will do whatever they want. Again, I cheated at the game Monopoly as a kid. You think the people in politics or in Wall Street or the highest levels of big tech or corporations care about what's right or wrong, what's good or bad or indifferent? That's why we always talk about a spiritual war going on. It's a spiritual war inside. All this is a spiritual war. It's a psychological war that's going on, and it's a spiritual war, 24/7, 365. And to deny it is to be naive. Period. End of story. They're trying to Trojan horse the Trojan horse. See, the Bitcoiners are trying to Trojan horse the government. They're trying to Trojan horse banks with Bitcoin. Well, guess what? They're trying to Trojan horse right back. The Trojan horse has a Trojan horse inside of it. And I believe the term is perfidy. So someone can correct me on how to actually say it here in the comments. But this is the perfect metaphor. It's exactly what it looks like. Attack Bitcoin publicly, FUD the market, fear, uncertainty, and doubt, pretend disinterest, suppress the price, get retail to stand down, build in the background while talking on the other side of your mouth, and quietly accumulate behind the scenes. They feign surrender. We don't like Bitcoin. It's too risky. We don't like it. It's just, whatever. It's boiling the oceans while setting up a Trojan horse ambush. ETFs, custody products, structured notes, etc. This is how the game works. This is how Wall Street separates you from your Bitcoin. And again, remember, he who has the Bitcoin makes the rules. But at the end of the day, the nodes really have the full power. This is why running a node is so important. Self-custody your Bitcoin. Get your cold storage wallet. Generate the seed phrase. Put it on your seed plate, your 12 or 24 word seed plate. This is very easy. A couple $100 and you got everything you need to be completely self-sovereign, including the node. And between ordering all of this and setting it all up, again, you guys can put in the comments, how long do you think that takes? Really, if you know what you're doing, and again, at first it's a little bit different. At first, it takes you a little bit more time, but for someone who's done it a couple times, I mean, you're looking at 5 minutes, 10, 20, 30 minutes, maybe an hour to put all those things, including ordering it, all those things up and running. And you literally are off the Titanic. The fiat debt-based monetary Titanic is going down, and you are now off on the lifeboat. You now have a chance. You now have a chance. It really is a beautiful thing. And you can start seeing more clearly. You can see clearly once you are off Once you are off the Titanic, then you can see very clearly. You can see that the ship is truly going down. This is an article that, you know what, I'm not going to show this. We're probably going to talk about this tomorrow, actually. We're going to talk about all the banks that are rocking and rolling and that have said one thing and done another. And we're going to talk about some of the predictions as well that they've made. This goes back to the Hal Finney thing. I don't know if I shared this the other day, but I wanted to share this. This is the Hal Finney, the Bitcoin talk forum, and him talking about, hey, we're probably going to have Bitcoin banks, or these things happen. And he talks about in here, right here with this highlighted part, this gives each coin a value of about $10 million. It's interesting that the system can be configured to only allow a certain maximum number of coins ever to be generated. I guess this idea that the amount of work needed to generate a new coin will become more difficult as time goes on. One immediate problem with any new currency is how to value it, even ignoring the practical problem that virtually no one will accept it at first. There's still difficulty in coming up with a reasonable argument in favor of a particular non-zero value for the coins. As an amusing thought experiment, imagine the Bitcoin is successful and becomes a dominant payment in use throughout the world. Then the total value of the currency should be equal to the value of all the wealth in the world. This goes back to the Jeff Booth prediction of there's 900 trillion assets, or say $1 trillion in assets, that Bitcoin has to account for all of that. And I think this is hard because we don't know how to denominate the world in anything else other than dollars right now. So it makes it very tough, and everyone's minds have a very hard time wrapping our heads around this, unfortunately. But that Bitcoin is the unit of account. You can account for every single thing in the world through 21 million coins because of the properties of Bitcoin and the divisibility of Bitcoin. Everything in the world divided by 21 million, which is, again, a phenomenal book, by the way, by Knut Svanholm. So go check that book out if you haven't done that. But current estimates of total worldwide household wealth that I have found range from 100 trillion to 300 trillion. With 20 million coins, that gives each coin a value of about $10 million. So 300 trillion, I believe, was what? This was 15 years ago. Okay, this is 2009, January 2009. So 16 years ago, he had written this. So almost 17 years ago. Jeez, wow. So 17 years ago, or sorry, wait, no, 26, 17 years ago, coming up in a month. So you look at that now, and that's where you have a Jeff Booth who gets into talking about the value of what Bitcoin will be and what it has to account for. And either the price is going to zero or it's going to 10 million. It's going to account for everything in the world. A network that can't be stopped, whose time has arrived. That's the world we have entered now. So again, what does it mean for the average person? You know, that the Hal Finney 17 years ago, that is incredible. I mean, we're getting on 20 years. This is wild. So 17 years ago, next month, it's still here. It's still running, and it's growing. The fundamentals growing all the time. The hash rate growing all the time. We can pull up the hash rate chart here in a second. We're over 1,000 exahash now. What is it? 20 nuclear reactors securing the system. An open source code that can't be stopped. I mean, it's literally insane to even think about where we're at. And this is where Wall Street knows they can't control it. So they're trying to siphon you away. They're trying to attack so that they can have some piece of the pie. But this is where the node part comes in. Running a node is so incredibly important. Custodying your Bitcoin is so incredibly important. Using Bitcoin denominated products and services like some of our sponsors. Meanwhile, the Bitcoin denominated life insurance, the circular economy, connecting with Bitcoiners on cluborange.org. These things are incredibly important. Using the Bitcoin way to help you with your VPNs, your node setup. If you need help setting up a node, even though it is easy, you do all these other things in life. These people can help you. This is the circular economy. This is a revolution. It's not going back into Wall Street. It's not getting your golden shackles and saying, "Oh, you know what? Yeah, I'm just going to stay in the CTF." Well, you know what, son? What's it with the meme of, hey, grandpa, why did you choose slavery? Well, I chose it because I didn't want to take that 10% tax. You know what, grandson? I just didn't want to do that. It was just too tough. It was too tough. That 10% tax was too much. The early withdrawal penalty. We could have had freedom, but maybe next time, maybe in another 500 years. What does this mean for the average person? You cannot compete with institutions once they begin allocating in size. You must stack actual Bitcoin in self-custody before the system fully embraces synthetic Bitcoin, and push back, educate, before they capture the rails and start pulling up the ladders and making the exit, the off and on ramps harder. Because again, eventually you will only be able to get Bitcoin by working for it, by providing value, swinging a hammer, producing a good or service, being a producer in society. You will not be able to buy it. There will become a point, probably sooner than later, where you will not be able to, someone will not take your fiat cuck bucks for Bitcoin. I know a lot of people like that right now, but think about as we go further down the road, people start understanding what Bitcoin is more and more inflation, more hurting, more black swan events, more issues that will rise inevitably because of the fiat system we live in. Guess what they're going to find? Guess what? When people are in pain, guess what they're going to look for? More antidotes for the more pain. And yes, will some people find, drugs and drug, sex, and rock and roll and fantasy sports? Yeah, they will. But they're also going to find Bitcoin because people will not shut up about it, and they will eventually find their way. Don't let the bank own your Bitcoin the way they owned the gold. In Bitcoin, fortunately, a decentralized structure, node structure, it can't be captured, at least theoretically, like gold and silver can, because gold and silver are physical, obviously. So again, none of this matters if you let the banks custody your Bitcoin and suck the time and energy away from you through this protocol. You have the answer off of the sinking Titanic. Don't lock it back up in the engine room off the Titanic and hit your life raft to the thing that's going down. Why would you get off in the life raft, get Bitcoin, and then put it back into some centralized custody platform? And you're literally on the life raft and you're hitching and chaining the lifeboat back up to the Titanic. That's literal insanity. You have your finite time and energy you trade all the time for what? Is it also for a finite container, or a container that has no inflationary hole in it? Or is it some other currency that has a massive inflationary hole, and you keep pouring your time and energy into this bucket with a massive inflationary hole in it, and you get up every single day and it's drained? You have to get back on the hamster wheel, fill it back up, and it drains out. And next night you go to bed and then you fill it back up. That's 99% of people. The uninformed will say it's not going down overnight. They'll say, you know what, Brandon, this is ridiculous. It's not going down overnight. The US dollar is going to be here a while. Again, yes, the Titanic took a couple hours to sink. I understand that. But that's the kind of attitude that gives the old system energy. This is a psychological battle, like we said earlier. Pure and simple. And only when enough people realize what's happening to them will they begin to change and the iceberg flip. We're just trying to do this before real chaos, damage, pain, hardship really, really come about at a global scale. We're trying not to go down that road again. I mean, that's, again, at the end of the day, we can just one at a time, each one teach one. And that's great. That is wonderful. And that's probably going to be a lot of it. And time's going to have to do the heavy lifting, unfortunately. But maybe not. Maybe not. Maybe there's just enough of us, enough crazy people that won't shut up about this enough, that feel called and the need to teach others about a way they can use a money that doesn't steal and rob from them and tax them to death. Maybe. Teach people how to run a node. Go use healthy soaps so that way you can enjoy some soap miners. You can enjoy your Bitcoin when it eats the entire global monetary system. Hopefully we can all be alive to see that. Take your passport, take your generated seed, put it in your stamp seed. Check out all of our Bitcoin only sponsors to support the show. Appreciate any of it. I know we're going to have some sponsors on here soon. We're going to have the Bitcoin Way, Michael Jordan from the Bitcoin Way on soon, probably next week on the live stream. And then I reached out to James from Stampseed. We're going to have him on. We're going to have a lot of the sponsors on here. Probably Jason from Meanwhile to talk about the Bitcoin denominated life insurance. Probably have Brian DeMint on at some point talking about what was the Orange Pill app and is now Club Orange. And we are going to have, we talked about Michael Jordan. And then we are also going to have maybe the foundation guys, try to get them on. And then Andy, we'll have him on, Schoonover from Crowd Health. So that way the medical, I believe the number one way people go bankrupt right now is medical bankruptcy. That is insane. That is absolutely insane. So all of the sponsors that we have, I went out to get them myself. I went out to get them. That's something I don't think I've said before. None of the sponsors came to me and said, "Oh, hey, can can I sponsor your show or something like that?" I went out and looked for people that I wanted, that I used, and because that's the way I learned a lot of what I did over the last 10 years. I would follow people that I trusted and listen to for a while, and then I would go look for the products and services that they were using, and then I would go research those myself. So again, don't just trust what I'm saying. Go verify what I'm saying. Go check the links out here. You can check the links and the codes to get cash off fiat discounts and stuff like that. But do your own homework. Do your own homework. This is Bitcoin at the end of the day. We've lost merit and accountability and responsibility in this world, and that's why we find ourselves in this place where there's very little there's no feedback loops, actually very little. I mean, there's almost no feedback loops anywhere. As we've said many times, men don't get punched in the face anymore, which is, I know, one of the things that's very polarizing that I've talked about a lot. But because there's no feedback loop, we have a bunch of keyboard warriors, and people don't wrestle, they don't get punched in the face as kids anymore, growing up and get in fights, then guess what? Your life's gonna be very tough. And again, if you want confirmation of the weak men times, here we are. We can just look around and see how many people have tablets strapped to their eyeballs, Oculus glasses on. You see what kind of weak society we have. Is that the beginning of the empire or the end of the empire? Hey, what are we doing? I can't see you guys. Where are you? I got my Oculus. I don't even know what they're called. The Google goggles or Apple Vision. Apple, that's what it is. Apple Vision. So what kind of world are we going to accept here, folks? It's up to us at the end of the day. This is how you defend yourself from Wall Street. All these products and services. Boom. Bitcoin only products. I searched them out myself. I asked them to sponsor the show, to support what we're doing, to support the couple Bitcoiners that help me, editors, things of that nature. So I searched them out. They did not come to me. So just thought everyone should know that, because that's important. If you have questions, fire away. And we're gonna have them on the show too. Like I said, I got nothing to hide. We're gonna have them on the shows. We've got a bunch of episodes we did podcasts with them, and also go do your homework. But also we're gonna have them on the live streams as well going forward. The next few weeks and into the new year, we're gonna have them on the live streams. They can talk about what they're doing. You can ask them questions. We're gonna mix in kind of like our show, what we do here, and then mix that in with the guys or gals coming up for whatever, 10 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, however much time everyone needs or wants, or how much they have. And we can talk about stuff. We can talk about their companies, their products or services, because this is the world is being built. The Cash Apps of the world, building things for businesses. You talk to a Jeff Booth and you see what Fetty is building, all these different things that are going on in the world, but really behind closed doors, behind the scenes. That's the world that we are in. And it takes a while. And what's the saying that, science progresses one funeral at a time? It's kind of a sad analogy in a way, right? But that is life. That's how things work. And we are building the parallel system outside the Titanic. And so it's an amazing world that we live in. We're blessed to be here. That's for dang sure. So Bitcoin Army of Peace and Truth. You're dang right it is. Dang right. I don't know why Shinku Nakamoto, the Bitcoin something emojis. It just says a bunch of emojis. I don't know why. Third world countries need Bitcoin the most, and they're already catching on. Exactly. They are. So I appreciate you guys a ton. I don't know. I feel like we usually have a ton of comments on here. So there's not many comments today. You guys are quiet today. You guys are quiet. I appreciate you guys a ton, though. Look forward to... I don't know why we just switched back here. But I look forward to doing more of these lives. We'll probably do another live tomorrow as well. If you guys don't have any questions, comments, then I will let you roll. We'll have Michael Jordan on next week. Like I said, check out the Joe Consorti podcast we just did. Amazing show. Rapid fire, 44 minutes. You see it right around here. We have Seb Bunny coming up. The Joe Consorti episode and the Peter Dunworth episode. Check that out in the link here, or click the little link around. That was an incredible podcast of why Bitcoin is not moving this year like we thought it would, and what's going to happen in 2026. So Peter Dunworth gives his take from the other side of the world. Joe Consorti is one of the top Bitcoin analysts there is. just talked about this as well. And it's just a rapid fire. We pared it down and condensed it down. So go check that out. And it's a really good episode. Joe's one of the smartest guys out there. If you can be 25 years old and talk like Joe Consorti does, or Dylan LeClaire, or I'm trying to think of some other gentlemen who are maybe of that age that can talk like that. Boy, oh boy, you're doing something. You're way ahead of the times. So AI Overlord, it's Friday. Yes, it is. Jesse, appreciate it. Just listening to you preach Bitcoin, brother. Yeah, no, I appreciate that. And there's so many cool things going on in the background, whether it's products and services that are being built right now, or things that I know of, or there are just even groups of people, different community groups that are being built inside of Bitcoin, and initiatives and just different stuff. It really is amazing that the things that are being done that no one knows about. And I know there's a million things that I'm not even privy to. And I'm in the space a fair amount, obviously not as much as I used to be a few years ago, in the sense of I used to be in Twitter all day long, which is not healthy. Don't do that. But I used to be in Twitter all day long, years ago. And the last year or two, I have not been able to be down the Twitter rabbit hole as nearly as much. More on Nostr a little bit now, switch over to there a little bit. But again, family, 4 kids, homeschool the kids, remove themselves from government schools. By the way, had the Byte Federal team interviewing me earlier today, and we talked about why. Does anyone have an answer for why you would be in government schools all day long, but people won't even go to government public bathrooms, but they'll go to government public schools all day long? So it's just a question to throw out there, like a little Friday evening question for people to kind of sit and ponder on. I don't have an answer for it. So if you can give me one, that would be great. So Sparkly Horns, great to see you. Great to see all you guys. Thanks for coming in. Listen, I'm sure, like you said, there's a lot of people that have been streaming through here. It looks like that are just listening, enjoying the Friday drive home, or it's Friday dinner time, at least over here in America. So any of you Aussies, or in the UK, you're probably sleeping. A couple of my buddies in the UK, you guys are probably sleeping. But the Aussies waking up, good Saturday morning to you. And just appreciate you guys more than you know. Go check out, like I said, those shows. Go get your swag, get the merch. Actually, it's not swag and it's not merch. They're just titanium C plates. It's just generational wealth, better than swag and merch. So go check that out. Oh man, this is you guys know my story of like not doing getting my wallet like 10 years ago, and I lost like 2 years of fiat gains. Bitcoin is very low, and I missed out because I was scared of custody. I saw scared of self-custody, so again, I know the daunting feeling. And again, if you're scared, talk to the guys at the Bitcoin Way. We'll have Michael on next Friday, to live stream, and he will talk about what they do at the Bitcoin Way to help everyone do that. So again, go check out the Bitcoin Way for any of those looking to help with self-custody, their VPN, their node running, all that. Free 30-minute call by going to the link in the description here, and talk to those guys. Amazing guys. Freedom first, liberty first, Bitcoin only, all these products. This is why I went to all of these people you see in the description. This is why I went to them purposely, because they had the ethos. I'm not taking on random people that are just coming to me. By the way, if any of you start or anyone that's listening, if you start doing Bitcoin content education, podcasting, whatever it is, social media stuff, man, you get inundated. I think Mark Moss just shared this the other day he like outed, who was it? Oh my gosh, one of you guys might know. Who did he just out? And it was it's the Zcash thing. That's what it was. And he was outing the Zcash stuff about the different offers you get. You just get flooded. My Twitter, the spam bots on YouTube, which by the way, you can't do anything about. So I apologize about that. There's, you can manually, I have virtual assistants that I'll pay to try to remove stuff for all of us. So it's not, people aren't getting spammed, or they're not getting taken by some scam or whatever. So again, you guys doing what you do, it helps me pay the editors, helps me pay the virtual assistants. Like, it's just such a fiat world we live in. And unfortunately, you're in this world where as a Bitcoiner, you don't want to have to like go do these things. But at the end of the day, some of us have to do it, right? 1% of us or whatever have to do it. Not everyone's going to do it, but we have to get the education out there. We have to put things out there. I feel called to do it. I know not everyone does. And so you have to enter this fiat mess, and you're dealing with just fiat garbage everywhere, as you guys well know. But like the spam bots and YouTube, I'm just gonna say that there might be someone there's some, I don't know how to say I don't know how to say this, but there's someone benefiting from the spam bots. And I don't mean like, oh, it's actually the EXGY exclamation point scam coin. I think there's some other people at play that are benefiting from that. And it's why we see them all the time. And no one can get rid of them seemingly. So yeah, I'll just leave that there. But that the DMs and every platform basically are just full of crypto spam. This, hey, you want this tax software, blah blah blah, whatever. So it's something that it's very very serious to me, because this is a 1 second decision. The tough thing that I think that we all deal with is that it's 20 years, 10 years. I mean, so for some of us, it's 1 year, a couple hours. For me, it's 10, 20 years, 20 plus years of studying money, monetary history, all these different things for me to order in politics, studying the military, all these different issues that I had to get in order to really understand Bitcoin. Because I got it pretty quickly, but it only came quickly, 8 years ago or 9 years ago, because I had studied all these other things for 10 years or 15 years. So that's what's tough. It's this paradox because it's a 1 second decision, right? It's a 1 second decision to choose to use a money that doesn't steal from you. But that doesn't come just overnight. That doesn't come in a vision or a dream. Everyone has to go through the gauntlet in their own way, through their education, through experiences, through hardships, or whatever it is. And mine came through a decade or two of studying and experiencing and seeing other people get burned, or seeing family members get burned in crises, or the dot-com bubble, or the great financial crisis. And that's the great financial crisis was right when I was leaving school, Michigan State, when I was playing hockey there. So you start seeing that and you go down the rabbit hole of, hey, I'm entering the workforce. Now I actually have to learn how to make money. Weird how I didn't learn that in government run schools. Well, it's not weird, but we know why that is the case. So then it became, as one of the founding fathers said, once your formal education ends, your real education begins. So then the great financial crisis happened, and I started studying. I found Creature from Jekyll Island and Robert Kiyosaki's book with Donald Trump, Why We Want to Be Rich. And that blew everything wide open for me. Then I found Guide to Investing in Gold and Silver with Mike Maloney. And then everything changed. And through that lens of seeing the world for what it was, and understanding the money was broken and the money was underpinning all of society, well, of course, you're going to have capitalism or whatever it is fall into this quicksand, your monetary layer, and it's going to look like a disaster. It's going to look like crony capitalism, or creditism, as Richard Duncan would call it. And you're going to have people calling for socialism and communism because they don't know what's wrong. No one knows what's wrong. So the Gemini twins were really pushing Zcash, and they pushed it to $1,000. Jeez, that is wild. I did hear AI Overlord that they were pushing it a bit. I saw some other people out there pushing it. You could just, I mean, you definitely can tell after you've been in the industry for 5 or 10 years. You can really tell what are scams, or who's being paid off for certain things, or I'm trying to think of the best way to say it, but just like the way they talk or the way people conduct themselves, it truly is wild. But these guys, I did see, you're right. Now that you say that, I did see them pushing something for their Gemini platform, right? It was something about, hey, we've got Zcash here, blah, 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 blah. But again, this is why once you get into, you sip from the chalice of easy money, all these bad decisions become much easier, unfortunately, and make sense to you. And you want those trading fees. You want the garbage that comes with it, because you're sipping from that chalice and you've made your choice. So Coinbase, Brian Armstrong, they're American companies. So, hey, they're going to capitulate when the government comes knocking. That's why we need to custody our Bitcoin. And then it starts defunding, which is a good thing. It's a good thing, defunding the legacy system and suffocating it. That's an amazing thing. We all win. That was another thing too. The last person in Bitcoin, whether it's a year from now or 100 years from now, they still win. The beauty of Bitcoin, a positive sum game where we're all aligned, incentives are aligned with a neutral money that captures deflation and distributes those winnings and productivity back to the people, is that the last person in Bitcoin still wins. Where in fiat, you just have people falling off the ladder and just getting crushed, and in the poor and middle class keep getting crushed. With Bitcoin, you have this world where the world starts getting better, because as more and more people start adding onto the network and living in a Bitcoin standard, on a Bitcoin standard, you have a world where their life gets better. Now they are getting wealthier. So now they don't need to go take a second job, go take a third job, get divorced. They're fighting over money, fighting over whatever it might be. So the world starts getting better. Things start getting cleaned up. And so the last person in Bitcoin, as that compounds on itself over time, then the last person, the very last person, you don't have any Bitcoin. But this goes back to the Elon Musk thing, which I've thought about for a number of years, and I've talked to many of you about this over the years and different people that I don't know if there will be money someday. It could be 50 years, 100 years, 500 years from now, 1,000 years from now, but I don't know if there will be money someday, because if things become so abundant, and again, this, people are going to say, oh, that's utopian, this and that. And again, I get it. We're cracked vessels. There's never going to be a true utopia on this earth, clearly. However, there are many things we can clean up in change. And this goes back to, look, we had, feudalism, we had despots, tyrants, we had kings and monarchs. We've had all kinds of, we had tribes, way back in the day. So humans have progressed through this arc of society and the arc of governance, we'll say. And now we have democracies and republics and in these different forms of governance. Bitcoin is that next evolution. It's the next world of whatever we want to call it, voluntarism. Maybe it's capitalism done right, or whatever. I don't know what it will be necessarily, or what we're going to call it, but that monetary bedrock, the best monetary bedrock we have, will hold the next 250, 500,000 years of human civilization if we can protect it properly, and if we can tend the garden and make sure it keeps its monetary properties, its security, decentralization, etc. If it can do that, then we can have the new system, the new evolution, type 1 society, whatever we want to call that, and go into this next world, in essence. And that's where we're on the precipice of right now. So let me see, I'm missing some of these comments. In today's climate, who would you work with on Bitcoin lending? It is a part of my strategy. Yeah, that's something that, again, not financial advice. This is something that everyone needs to look into themselves and, trust but verify. This is, I have not, I know there's a handful of them out there right now between, Strike, there's People's Reserve, there's Horizon, there's all kinds of different lenders, there's different home mortgage, tap into your mortgage, all these different things. And like myself, I'm much more comfortable with the real estate and the lending against, real estate and things of that nature, because that's where I grew up in for 10 years, 15 years, was doing that, studying real estate, raising money, things of that nature. So I'm comfortable with it, but it's not for everybody. Hence why I'm in Bitcoin and advocating for Bitcoin, because you can't have the whole world in real estate, and the only way you can get ahead is doing real estate. That's not feasible. That's not how life should work. So that aside, do your homework on that, because I don't have like a great answer for you, Hat Boy. I'm trying to think. Strike's super easy. Again, it's a tough one, because again, there's different lenders for different things, obviously, or different ways you want to go about it. And again, not financial advice. I just, do your homework, do, small loan to values, things of that nature. If you're going to do stuff like that, but again, I would say no. I would say no, don't do that. The faster we can make the 1 second decision to defund the system, the better. The faster all this goes down, and we can reinvent this. It doesn't go away. None of this goes away. We don't go away. None of this goes away, and that's where people get upset sometimes. We don't go away. We're still there. We're still building this new system alongside once the fiat Titanic goes down. And the faster that we can do that, and just Bitcoin and self-custody, the better. And, so again, your strategy, everyone's strategy is going to be a little different. So I would just do some homework on that. Again, I'm not opposed to people doing the lending. Obviously, just be very careful with it. I think the faster we can suffocate it and not try to tap back into that world, the better. But I know it's not for everybody, and everyone's got different goals. So as Bitcoiners, we need to be realistic about that sometimes, because this is the challenge. And again, you guys tell me if you agree or not, but I think there's the idealism and the pragmatism are the two worlds that Bitcoiners really kind of grapple with and kind of bounce back and forth with and have a hard time with. I think a lot of Bitcoiners, we tend to be very idealistic, and we're entrepreneurial, we're forward thinkers, we're visionary type minds. And then there's the pragmatism of the world, where it just is what it is. Like, this is a world where it's not hyper Bitcoinization tomorrow. I still have to live in this fiat world somehow today, Brandon. 99% of us do, or whatever it might be. So how do I live in these worlds? How do I marry these two worlds together? I think you can push for a visionary future of where we're headed, while also building on or pushing forward a visionary world, and for what the world needs to be, and to move the Overton window, context shift. while also still living in the fiat world and navigating that fiat world. So it's a challenge though. It's a challenge, and that's where government run schools don't do you well, because this is a big challenge. We don't we have a world where you have to live in 10 things can be true, 100 things, a million things can be true at once. But government run schools tell you that there's only one right answer. And that's why I think, again, so many people have a hard time, even Bitcoiners. I went to government run school, guilty. So it's hard. It's breaking all of our own models, our own patterns, all the pseudosciences we were taught. The Gemini twins, no, I mean, I don't trust them. Yeah, I just say that because I don't know them, but I'm sure they're great guys. But I don't trust them because they're operating Gemini, and they're offering a bunch of altcoins. Anything that's not, this is the thing. Last year at the Nashville Bitcoin conference, I had someone come interview me for a documentary, and they stopped me, and I don't know, they were like, hey, come do this, and I don't know if they thought I looked like an altcoiner. Something like that. But he was like, yeah. And I started saying, well, I think, and he's like, oh, you're a Bitcoin maxi. And I was like, well, I'm a freedom maxi first. I believe, though, that we should be advocating for Bitcoin first because it has the necessary properties to build civilization on, like we've talked about many times, the monetary bedrock to build civilization on. So if you want to go gamble, do sports betting, do altcoins, come up with all these shenanigans, that's great. Wonderful. Everyone's got their own thing, but build it on monetary bedrock. Actual bedrock, a strong bedrock. Don't put the cart before the horse. Don't go start playing altcoin fiat games and metaverse this and NFTs that. Why are so many people trying to grasp at the next dollar instead of just fixing the system right here? And we're going to get to a point in society, the iceberg, enough people will be so fed up and so angry about the system they live in that eventually the iceberg will flip. That's, in my opinion, 5, 10 years, 15 years, somewhere between the next, decade or two, it's going to happen because the generational shift, the demographics, the younger generation, 40, 45 and under, will not put up with it, will not put up with what they've witnessed over the last 20 years of their life, 25 years of their life. So it's a world where people want transparency now. They want to be not in the know, but they want to know what's going on. They want justice. They want these things to happen. And everywhere you look, there's none of that going on. It's just a good old boys club everywhere. And fiat does that. Fiat makes the opaqueness happen. And, privacy, separate that from privacy. Privacy, people should have privacy, right? And you will have privacy. But we have a world where there's too much opaqueness going on, and government, government is guilty until proven innocent. And individuals are innocent until proven guilty. But we've got that backwards for a lot of societies, very backwards right now. So that's all this is going to come unraveled, and all this is coming unglued, unraveled, and things are going to be repriced and reorient themselves. So this goes back to, again, the Gemini twins answer. I'm sure they're great guys. However, these are guys that I can't fully trust, obviously, because they are operating a S-coin casino, a ship coin casino. And Coinbase, same thing, same kind of stuff. It's the Vitaliks and all these guys, the Charles Hoskinson. I can't trust you because you're not operating in first principles. I have to trust you. You know differently. You know better, and you're not pushing the thing that can't be controlled. Therefore, I'm automatically suspect of you. If you're not putting all your time and energy into this one thing, because I know, looking at the American Revolution, only a couple percent of people, only a couple percent gave, a handful of percent gave, put their life on the line, their lives, their fortune, sacred honor, and then gave the rest of the world, and 97%, the rest of the other part of the country, the Bill of Rights and the Constitution. We have precedent for that. We know that. It only takes a small irate minority, enough of the people, to flip the iceberg and say, enough's enough. I'm not doing this anymore. It's a psychological battle. This is, if it was math and logic and all this stuff, then it would work right away. This goes back to AI. Like if global warming, this goes back to the Bill Gates. I was just talking again to somebody about this today. Bill Gates just admitted, oh, maybe global warming wasn't as bad as we thought it was. Well, you think, Bill? Again, he's letting the cat out of the bag, saying the quiet thing out loud, hiding in plain sight because he's trying to get in front of the AI narrative. All of a sudden, Bitcoin's boiling the oceans for 15 years, but it's totally fine now. You don't hear any boiling ocean narrative because AI, something that the people at the top can control, all of a sudden energy usage is great. It's amazing. So you don't hear anything about it. So that should be the signal in all this. And the other signal is that if global warming was such a big deal and there was such a massive need for this, then Bitcoin would be the most popular thing on earth. Everyone would be mining Bitcoin. Everyone have their miners on top of flared gas and stranded energy sources and things of that nature, right? You'd be cleaning up ponds everywhere. People would be building flux capacitors so that way they could clean up the pond. I mean, this is just critical thinking 101. And so again, there's signal in all that. There's a lesson in all of this. It's the thing that can't be controlled is not popular to the people at the top. It's also when you have, again, people running these ship coin casinos and running these altcoins, they are there to separate you from your Bitcoin. Just going back to the whole premise of this show today, and a lot of what we talk about, don't be fooled by the shiny objects. Derek Zoolander walking down the catwalk, and you see the celebrities and the world leaders next to you, and you're waving, you're having a snapping your fingers, blinking, whatever. I can't even think of the right term now. And don't be distracted. Don't be distracted. Do not be separated. Put your stuff in self-custody. Get the flippin' Passport Core. Get the titanium seed plates. This is very simple. We've never had this in human history, the ability to so easily do this everywhere. We don't have to go mine Bitcoin or mine gold and silver in a ditch somewhere. And we don't have to do that. We don't have to go pan for gold and go out west somewhere. Never in the world have we had a monetary ledger globally that can't be disrupted by other human beings and can't be confiscated or controlled by them if you self-custody, if you generate your seed from your cold storage wallet and then put it on your stamp seed. So that's the game changer with all this. I saw their interview on their Amsterdam event. I was not impressed. Yeah, that was not impressive. I saw the one, I think they did one with Bram, Bitcoin for Millennials. Love Bram, he's a great guy. And it's just like, I don't know. They just, again, this is what happens. When you're in fiat for too long, it just dulls your senses. Let's just say that. Got to touch some grass. They got me with the Gemini car, but it's mid at best. Yeah, I mean, straight up, guys, like this is why I have Foundation, Soap Miner, Stamp Seed, Orange Pill app or Club Orange now, the Bitcoin Way guys, Crowd Health. Meanwhile, these are all Bitcoiners. These are, I'm not messing around. I can't mess around with Gemini. I will not have them sponsor my show. I've seen them sponsor stuff out there. I'm not going to name names. That's up to everyone to do their own homework. I went and searched out the sponsors in the show in the description here were searched out by me. And so that's why I say, if you have any issues, come talk to me about it. If you're seeing something that you don't like, come talk to me about it. If you find something that I haven't found, come talk to me about it. Because we'll go research it, I guess, but they might not be sponsors for that much longer. Let's just say that. That's the beauty of Bitcoin. We're not held down. I do it because I want to pay for the team and I want to put out content that impacts people and we can move the world forward. And I want to help these people get good products and services out to the world. So it's a platform to be able to do that. That's it. So I searched these sponsors out that we have. They didn't come to me. I came to them. I specifically came to them. And like I said to you guys earlier, I've had, you get people coming to you all the time with this garbage, the Gemini card or whatever the heck it is, some scam coin this and blah, 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 that, and text service and crypto service. And you get so many of them. You get spammed all the time with this stuff and nonsense. And so you see how easy it is for people, the Kardashians of the world and all these different people to get sucked in, and we're going to pay $1,000 per post or whatever it is because they have unlimited fiat. They are separating you from your Bitcoin. You give them your fiat, I want to buy this scam coin. They take that fiat and they go buy Bitcoin with it. Or you send them their Bitcoin for their scam coin or whatever it is, some trade or whatever, however these people are doing their shenanigans, whatever way, and then they go take it and they buy more they go take your Bitcoin and they take it from you. Or the lending, you got to be careful. Again, the lending platforms, this is part of it too, right? When you see the on-chain data with Bitcoin, you see the longs and the shorts and the ETFs, you see all these things. So you have to be careful because people will get blown up. This is how people get blown up and they lose their Bitcoin because Wall Street sees this stuff and they have short squeezes, or they're blowing up the longs or blowing up the shorts. These things are done because there are sophisticated people watching, looking all day long, algorithms, whatever it might be, looking for these opportunities. That's why you have to be careful. That's why you providing value to society putting it into self-custody, your Bitcoin into self-custody, generating that seed phrase, memorizing it, or putting it both in your head and on a stamp seed plate. That's the best way to defund the system and suffocate it and reorganize it, reorient it to freedom, merit, accountability, responsibility. And then you don't have to worry about this stuff. You don't have to worry. You don't have to worry about this stuff. You can, go use Bitcoin denominated life insurance products like Meanwhile. You can go, go use Crowd Health, pay way less for your insurance, and actually use a crowd sharing service that funds way more of your stuff and costs less. Brilliant concept. Decentralized healthcare. Huh. Wish I would have thought of that. Of course, there's a Bitcoiner doing it. I mean, wow. I'll check that interview out. Thanks. Yeah, Hatboy. Yeah. So interesting. So interesting. People are greedy. AI overlord said people are too greedy for the no money thing. We are too addicted to this top-down game. Yeah, I mean, again, I think you're referring to the top-down game of convert the king, and hopefully people will get the ETFs and convert the people at the top to do it. It's, again, if that was working so well, then I think Bitcoin's fiat price would be much more. So this is going to be each one teach one. We're going to build slowly, and then when hard times come, people will be able to withstand it because they know what they own. With people actually learning what's going on instead of jumping in, and everyone's just Bitcoiners and pre-coiners are just looking for price all the time. Then you get flushed out. You get flushed out very easily, and you don't understand what you own. And you're just looking for price. And we've kind of forgot the basics here over the last year and a half, really last almost 2 years since the ETFs have come out. I think a lot of us, we're all in this. We've kind of missed the essence of what we're doing here. And because we're focusing so much on the ETFs, which is natural, these things are going to happen, but we need to keep focusing on the main thing. And that's why we talk about here all the time. Keep the main thing, period. So this is my first rodeo. How do you handle the price swing and volatility? Well, the old adage is, don't buy more than you can comfortably sleep with at night. That's, the old adage, obviously. But at the end of the day, again, the cycle this is what happens over and over again. So the best thing I can say to you is this happens all the time. This has happened for 16 years straight. Is it the up and down swings over and over? You know what? I'm going to share this thing with you though, AI overlord. This is because this is one thing that orange pilled me a ton when I was really just kind of getting going, I don't know, 8-9 years ago with Bitcoin. And it was I think I have it's like 100 little pictures all at once. You know, here's hash rate number one. Want to show you never stronger. Never stronger here, the hash rate. So again, this is important to understand. This is price being flooded, but then in the background, fundamentals have never been stronger. So again, you have to watch behind the scenes what's actually happening. It'll tell you everything you need to know. All right, let me see where I will show you the log chart. So the log chart is what really changed things for me. So let me see if I can pull up. So this is the log chart of Bitcoin over time since 2009 up to 2024 here. So when I saw this years ago, it really dawned on me that I'm looking at this incorrectly. I'm not looking at it in the sense of, I don't know why this is not. Hold on. I don't know why this is not zooming into the right spot for me here. So you guys can see this better. There we go. All right. Why is this not? Why is it going away? Dang it. All right. So, that's why. Okay. It's going to another screen. Hold on. I don't know why it's going to this other screen. I just want to zoom in so you guys can see. There we go. So you guys can see the log chart. This is so incredibly important. And this is the most important thing. One of the most important things that you can understand about owning Bitcoin is that it's a network, right? It's a network effect. Just like Facebook or a lot of these things. There's a reason like the Warren Buffetts of the world or a lot of these guys they had a hard time understanding Bitcoin. They had a hard time understanding Google or Facebook or a lot of these different tech plays the old legacy tech plays is because they didn't understand the network effect. They were looking at it from in terms of the PE and things like that. But again, when you don't take into account the currency printing as well, then you've got cap rates in real estate way out of whack, which I experienced. You got PE ratios in stocks way out of whack. So all these things they're hard to account for because when the currency is constantly being printed into oblivion, you don't have any idea what's going on, what's forward or backward, up or down. You have no clue how to actually orient yourself into what's happening. So when you look at like the fiat price chart, it's just going up and down violently like this, right? But when you see it in terms of network effect and user growth, user network adoption, fundamentals, like I just showed a minute ago, the hash rate going up and up and up and up, that's smart money getting in and telling you what's coming down the road. That's the network adoption growth. That's where like the fundamentals, you look at like the fundamentals, technicals, risk management, and cash flow. Cash flow. So I think of it in those four terms, right? So we look at fundamentals of investment, technicals, and again, this is money. Bitcoin is money, a protocol outside the whole system. But if you're looking at money, or if you're looking at Bitcoin as an investment, and a lot of people do, then again, you have to look at what's the fundamentals of this. The fundamentals, the technicals, the cash flow of it, and the risk management. Now, that's from, again, a fiat lens, but at the same time, it helps you understand, Bitcoin itself. So I'm trying to, you asked a question about that, so which I'm not showing it for some reason. I don't know why. So this is why, for anyone, this is why I'm showing this, because AI Overlord asked, how do you handle the price swings and volatility? This is the first rodeo for him, or her. So anyway, that's it. That's how I handle this, is because I have, done the homework for decades, just, whether it's Bitcoin or sound money. And so you look at it and you see the network growth, the hash rate, the log chart really puts into perspective. Wow, this thing it's an actual network growing. It's a community of people growing. It's not just some fiat tulip mania, like a lot of people will say, the Steve Hankeys of the world, or the Peter Schiffs, who quite honestly haven't done their homework. They haven't fully got to that place where they're dropping the ego, or they're paid off, or a Steve Hanke or Jim Rickers, or who, again, it might work for the government. Again, like, you have to take that into account. A lot of people could be paid or have been paid by the government. Jim Rickers, love him, watched him years ago, and for a long time, he's a super smart dude. But you do financial war games with the Pentagon. So it is what it is. That's how life works, and you have to just take things as they come. So it's all situational. Yes, Jesse, it is all situational. But the easiest right now is Strike. Yeah, exactly. That's exactly. Strike's super easy, obviously, for what we were talking about earlier for the lending. But again, just be careful. The best and fastest way the fastest way would be for all of us to go orange pill one person, just compound that over time here, and everyone just starts orange pilling one person. Everyone just got to orange pill one person, and then boom, 1 second decision. Humanity changes overnight. All the incentives start changing immediately. Not that change would happen overnight, but the incentives start changing overnight, and things radically change. And that's what you were saying earlier too. Again, once the beauty of this, the true Trojan horse is that Bitcoin starts taking over. You're defunding the system, because as people get wealthier, the last person in the system, everyone starts getting wealthier, and so there's less civil unrest. There's less chaos. There's less happening, because you have happiness, because you are able to get off the hamster wheel, because you're wealthier. You don't have to divorce your spouse. You get to spend more time having children or spending time with your children. And you're now a fulfilled person for numerous different reasons that we could go into. And now the great part is, like I said earlier, don't put the cart before the horse with why are you playing with altcoins and casino coins and all this stuff, when you can just get Bitcoin and improve humanity on an immutable network that defunds the chaos over time. And the beautiful part is, once people start leaving those halls of power, and people realize, oh, I'm not incentivized to go cracked vessels, human beings that are incepted by something not right. Those people are attracted to power. Cutscene. Newsflash. Those people are attracted to power in a fiat world, because they know, I can be a cantillionaire. I can go print currency. I can go take power. I can go do whatever I want to do and laud it over people. What's the highest form of control in society? It's controlling human beings. That's what the devil wants. And so how do I do that best right now? Well, it's through governments. And can I do that right now? Yes, I can, because they're all fiat government currencies. They're all fake. So I can go enslave people and put them in their cages, through fiat currencies. And I don't even have to tell them. They don't even know. That's the beautiful part. Used to be Genghis Khan had to go through and take out whole villages and burn everything down and do crazy things. And it was very obvious. It was physical. It was right in your face. Now it's silent. It's behind closed doors. It's ephemeral. You can't see it. So it's very, very tough for the average person to see. That's why I think even more important and paramount that we continue spreading truth and education. And so at the end of the day, you start defunding that system because as people are not incentivized to go into government, because now you're on a standard of money, a bedrock that can't be changed, now it becomes much harder for people. What are you going to do? You can have the government go around with their hats and here, collect my tax, collect taxes so we can go to war. No, of course not. So then naturally, as some of those people start becoming wealthier, some of those politicians themselves or cracked vessels, people are not they're not incentivized to go to the government and work. Well, guess what? Government now has less power. And now government's scared of the people instead of people being scared of the government, which we find ourselves in now. So it's all incentives, right? It's Charlie Munger. Show me the incentives and I'll show you the outcome. This is a very simple process. It's just like everyone said, all the scientists and all these people, they should have the lab coats and you should have the patches of all your sponsors, all the people around you. We got our sponsors right here. The sponsors to our show are right below. You can support the show, support the sponsors. We love it. Thank you so much. And you can go check them out. You can verify. You can go do your research on these people. And I picked them out for a reason and went to them myself. You can go choose to do them. Why doesn't everyone else do them? Why do the scientists or the teachers unions or whatever? Why don't they have the patches of who gives all the money to them? We should know that. We should know who's giving money to all these organizations, shouldn't we? Follow the money. It's pretty simple stuff. And that's the opaqueness that is going away. It will go away. The younger generations will not put up with that. We talk about here a lot with you guys. These younger generations, 40, 45 and younger, will not put up with that. The Gen X, what I found is the Gen X generation, for whatever reason, still hangs on to that. Whether it's like the George Gammons of the world, there's a lot of the 45 and up crowd, the 45 to like 60, they still, even though it's an alternative crowd, you have the alternative music in the 90s and stuff like that growing up, they still believe a lot of the old system. And it's just like, well, it just is the way it is. I'm going to learn the plumbing of the entire system. God love George, but we don't need to learn the plumbing of the whole system because that system's coming down. Why am I learning the Titanic as it's going to the bottom of the ocean? I don't need to learn that system. There's a system right here being built to the side. There's a better version of it. We just need to put our energy and time here. I trust only God. Well said. Well said. As you should. As you should. Level Settles. I like that name. Hat Boy, I live in both worlds, but more and more moving to Bitcoin. I'm a Bitcoin hybrid. I think everyone is. I mean, for the most part, right? I mean, there's a few people that run on just Bitcoin. I'm talking with percentage of the world, but vast majority of people are both. And the beautiful part is it happens purposely that way because slowly over time, that way more and more people can come in, more people can accumulate cheaper sats, trading those cuck bucks for cheaper Bitcoin. And it has to happen that way. Because can you imagine if things just flipped overnight? There would be mass chaos. There would be mass chaos in the streets if things just got revalued overnight to Bitcoin or got revalued, gold revalued itself or whatever. That would mass chaos. Clean Your Machine. Good to see you from Alberta. Level Settles and math for both are the same. I do love it. There are a lot of the God and math analogies, etc. First principles, nature's law, spiritual law, like all that. That's phenomenal. That's a discussion for a different day. I love it. Oh boy, we got the bots. Somehow we got bots and live streams now. Pretty wild. You can convert to XMR. I'm not sure what that is. Hello, friends. Oliver, good to see you. The ethical case does not depend on price. Mr. Neil Flesher, you are very right. The log chart. Yes. And we did talk about that actually in our podcast we did together. It's driven by one principle: moral money is more valuable than immoral money. And Neil also signed my book, which is great. Ethics Before Economics. So good. And again, it's something that's not super popular, obviously, right? But the message itself it's more fun to talk about price, right? Because everyone's stuck in this price world. And so right now it's not incredibly popular, but it's going to become more popular as we see more civil unrest, more things happen. The stuff we've seen just in the last few months, social outrage, uh, people getting offed, political figures, people on buses in North Carolina, things like that, right? All these things are just signs of the times. Schools having issues, mass events, all these things are signs of the social unrest and the fabric of the people coming apart, the fabric of the nation, the fabric of the world coming apart, and really the fiat system coming apart. And so the ethics will continue to come and really take over everyone and everything as more of this happens. Unfortunately, again, humans, we like to be beat over the head 100 times before we realize that we're in a fight. And so bad things usually have to happen for people to change. And I think it was Neil, maybe in our podcast too, we talked about the pain to change has to be less than the pain you're currently experiencing. And so where does that ratio sit with the average person? So just so brilliant. So brilliant. It's hard to orange pill someone. Hat boy. Oh yeah, shoot, hold on. I didn't know if I shared this one. The log chart is driven by one principle. Again, we talked about that. Moral money is more valuable than immoral money. So amazing. Hat boy, it's hard to orange pill someone. That's why I think endgame is dystopia. Yeah, it is. It is very hard to orange pill someone because they have to be ready, right? When the teacher or when the student's ready, the teacher will appear, and people have to be looking for it, and they have to want it, and they have to know the problem, and then they have to kind of be looking for the solution. And you have to speak to people where they are, right? And then so there's a whole process of orange pilling someone. It's not an incredibly easy process. It just is not. So how do we? Oh boy, put user in timeout. Don't get Margaret's scam token pre-sale. Let's just say that we won't. We don't need to be doing that. Oh my goodness. It's definitely hard to orange pill someone. Hold on. Definitely it is hard to orange pill somebody or people. I try, but it doesn't help. Bitcoin dropped 30%. Then your family thinks you're an idiot right now. Yeah, no, exactly. And you're going to go through those phases of ups and downs of people thinking you're crazy. And that's all periods of innovation. Again, you think about someone discovering fire or the wheel or the horse being replaced by the car, all these things, right? People thought you were insane. You think people looked at the Wright brothers and said, oh yeah, these guys, they got their head on right. No, of course not. It's just tough because we live through the times right now. It's easy to see when you zoom out. When you zoom out, it's super easy to see all these things. But when you are inside the bubble, it's hard. How does a fish know he's wet if he's been in the water his whole life? Super tough. Super tough. I'm going to try to I'm going to try to block the user somehow on YouTube. We'll see if that works. Not sure. I'm not a Restream pro. Just a guy here trying to educate about Bitcoin. So I'm not a tech producer. Margaret's in here with her AI bot scam coin. So it is tough. But again, remember, like Neil just said, remind people that one Bitcoin equals one Bitcoin at the end of the day. That's all that matters. One Bitcoin is one Bitcoin. It's a freedom network outside of the control of the system. So what kind of price is that to you? It's priceless. It's priceless. And again, not everyone understands that right now. And you can go in, I mean, I've tried to do some thought experiments and get on AI. I actually have an article I'm kind of writing about this, about everything divided by 21 million. What were the prices of gold, say in 1913, gold compared to goods, services? What were the number of ounces for gold? Things like that. How can you get back to a baseline of society and account for all goods and services in the world divided by 21 million? And you can do that, 100 sats for a loaf of bread, all these different things. And that's where I do think that Bitcoin is going to be $900 trillion of assets. Or it's got to account for all 900 trillion or 1 quadrillion, however many assets are in the world right now, what the fiat number is. Bitcoin needs to account for all that because it is money. So it has to account. It is the unit of account. It is everything in the world divided by 21 million. And so that's where you're going to have booms and busts, small ones in the sense of actual logistical problems, not like the Putin price hike and stupid things that we talk about now. It's gonna be actual things of supply and demand. If a bunch of houses burn down, well, there's less supply. If there's only 21 million Bitcoin or 2.1 quadrillion sats, if there's 10 houses less now, well, now it's going to be worth more. It'll take more sats. So sorry, it's getting late at night here. There'll be more sats in order to buy the homes that exist now still that remain because there's less housing, there's less supply. But if people go buy 10 more houses, so now the builder is incentivized because there are missing homes and we need that supply on market. So now the builder says, okay, great. Now it's more sats. It might be whatever the 10% more, 5% more. So the builder says, great, there's a profit margin here. I'm going to go build a bunch of homes. Now it equals out again. And now maybe there's an oversupply. Maybe someone gets greedy and builds in a couple extra homes. Well, now the price comes down 10%. Now instead of 1,000 sats for a home or 10,000 sats, it's 9,500 sats or 9,000 sats in 10 or 20, 30 years from now. And so you're gonna have these little fluctuations of the free market. That's how it works. But the booms and busts, the craziness up and down swings is all a fiat construct. That's all from these bubbles that have been blown by central banks over centuries, and especially over the last 115 years. So Oliver, let me see, let me get this up here. Very few people take the orange pill when you give it to them. They often take it months or years after you talk to them. Look at Bitcoin one more time. They will. Yeah, exactly. And a lot of times it comes from even a black pill or someone, going full nihilism or, nothing matters in life, or red pill, and understanding the game that's being played on you. A lot of times I've seen people come to the orange pill after those other pills, or maybe the white pill, the God pill or something like that. So people take all their own ways. And that's why the Bitcoin is a gauntlet. Bitcoin is it's something you have to go through and everyone has to experience it. It's the tiny door. The gate is small that you have to go through. Everyone has to go through that same process. It's like going to buds. It's like going and try to become a Navy SEAL and going to buds or ranger school or something like that. And you're going through buds and it's a selection process and you get weeded out. That's this gauntlet that bonds everyone together. You have to go through. That's why Bitcoiners get along so well, because they have the same ethos. It changes you. You all have to squeeze through this narrow gate, this narrow entryway, and you have to go through the pain, the hurt, and the process of, hey, I got my bank accounts frozen. Hey, I was in altcoins and got scammed. Hey, I lost everything over here. Hey, I lost half my wealth over there. Whatever the process might be, or I had to escape war and I had my wealth in my head, or whatever I had on my stamp seed, or whatever it is. Those experiences are what bring the community together to Bitcoin, and you only get there through that. Studying. I studied a ton. I studied for years, or whatever it is, and this makes the most sense. Everyone's got their gauntlet. You don't just wake up overnight and say, I get it. Sound money, Bitcoin, finite money equal to my finite time. Like this, you don't just get that overnight. It's not how this works. So yeah, you couldn't be more spot on, Oliver. Era 2530. I don't know if I'm pronouncing your name right. Great to see you. Love the podcast, Brandon. A friend introduced me to Bitcoin and I debated. I finally got orange pilled after 100 hours of research. There you go. There we go. Exactly what we just said, right? Exactly. This is a great comment. Great follow. Cash out my investments, all Bitcoin now in cold storage wallet. Boom. Love that. Get the cold storage wallet. Boom. Put your seed on titanium. Don't be a manja cake, as my Italian wife says. Manja cake means you are Italian for a mooch. Like you're coming over just to eat the meal, and then you come over right before the meal starts, and then you leave right after the meal ends. You're a manja cake. You're you're just mooching off the system. Oh, goodness gracious. Love that. Protect your Bitcoin. Strong work. That is strong work. Once you understand where all the fiat numbers come from, it's clear what the right move is. Yeah, and it goes back to Michael Saylor. You're right, Oliver. And it goes back to Michael Saylor saying Keynes. I don't know if he said Keynesianism exactly, but everything that people learn in their MBA, grad schools, financial, whatever it is, it's all pseudoscience. It's all completely fake. Somehow I blocked one bot user and now they have another one in here. They just multiply like ants, like rabbits out here. Manja cake. Yes, manja cake, Oliver. little Italian for the evening here. I've gone an hour over. I feel like we do this a lot. I go an hour over almost every time that I'm on here, so it's just fun talking to you guys. Yeah, the safe haven is Bitcoin. It truly is. It truly is. I appreciate the kind words about the podcast. Also, Ira, really appreciate that a lot. It's a labor of love, that's for sure, and a calling, and that's why I do it. That's how I learned a ton. It's the way I can give back as well, and be a part of the conversation. Tend the garden, as we talk about here a lot. The way to have a voice in what's going on, and spread what I know, and be a part of the solution. Our lives, our fortunes, our sacred honor, pledging that to each other. That's what are we doing here at the end of the day if we're not doing that? So I've told you guys before, but my fear is that I get to the gate someday and the good Lord looks me in the face and says, hey, I gave you truth. I gave you something that all my children needed, and you didn't say anything about it. You didn't do anything about that. What do you have to say for that? That's my biggest fear. So that is what drives me forward. And that's why I'm here on a Friday night at 5 to 8 p.m. Eastern time doing this, because it's the only way out of the CBDC AI panopticon we find ourselves in. By the way, did you know, speaking of all that Aldous Huxley, Brave New World, George Orwell's 1984, that those were written by basically Operation Mockingbird, if anyone know what that is, but basically by the insiders, the people at the top. And again, it's just another way to desensitize. That's like James Bond or all these movies, Jason Bourne, James Bond. There are all these movies to basically hide things in plain sight. So very interesting. Just had come across that in the last couple of years, and I always thought that was fascinating, because it was like, why would government run schools? Government run schools used to make people read those things, but they don't really make you read it anymore. But it was interesting they did make you read it for a while, because that's not really, the government doesn't want that. Why would they want you to know that? Well, it's because they want you to be desensitized to it. Very interesting. If you can, you should, you must. Yeah, exactly. 100%. You have to. Not exactly. And if you can, do it. Write, do video, podcast, live, whatever. Go to conferences, speak at conferences. But hey, everyone can buy Bitcoin from anywhere. Put it in your cold storage wallet, an open source one, hopefully. And there are a few good ones. Again, like Passport, for one of our sponsors. There's a few good ones out there. Obviously, you get open source ones. Find one you like that has a good team behind it. Freedom ethos, privacy centric, open source. Trust but verify. Or not even, don't even have to trust. Just verify, and put it on your stamp seed. I mean, this is easy. This is why I come here every day to do this. Period. So appreciate you guys so much. Unless anything else, there's anything on breaking news, go check out the videos. I need to get out of here. Go check the videos, the Joe Consorti interview, the Peter Dunworth interview, Seb Bunny coming up here in a couple days. We'll probably do another live tomorrow as well. So made in America. Yeah, Oliver, the passport is made in America. I think it's the only one made in America. I'm pretty sure. So again, verify that. Don't trust me, verify. But what I had found, or what I've been told, is that's the only one in America, made in America. If that's worth something to anyone anymore, I don't know if it is or not. But it is made in America. And stamp seed, good old stamp seed, obviously. And Soap Miner. Soap Miner's blowing up, by the way. So if you're not checking out Soap, unreal guy. He's a phenomenal guy. Hand makes all this tallow soap. So go check out Soap Miner. Bam. I think you get 10% off of the link here. If you want actual, you don't want to be using the old Head and Shoulders and a bunch of garbage you're rubbing on your body, which is the biggest organ in your body, by the way. So be careful. Be careful what you're putting on your body. Soap Miner, it's all I use now. It's all we use. So It's amazing. Absolutely amazing stuff. And we'll have another good show tomorrow. I don't know what I'm going to do it exactly, but yes, AI Overlord. Have a blessed weekend. Oh yes, Oliver. How would you think of the insurance video? I'm gonna put up. We're gonna edit and condense that down to a shorter version, probably like an hour instead of 2 hours. So I know the length, we went long on a bunch of different stuff, but we're gonna try to condense it down to stuff. But overall, let it, if you can, or you're open to it, let us know a quick thought or two about the meanwhile and how it's runs or how it runs the Bitcoin denominated life insurance that sponsors the show. Wild, like super cool. Again, not for everyone in the world, but very, very cool. Sparkling Horns, peace. Have a blessed weekend, AI Overlord. Appreciate you guys a ton. Unless there's any last second questions, comments, concerns. There was someone, by the way, there was someone that was I told them to come on to the live stream because they were like, I don't know what they were saying. They were saying something about clickbait or something like that on one of the shows the other day, by the way. And it's just wild because like I was thinking it was the Peter Dunworth one. We had like what 15 or 16,000 views on that. Tons of great comments. And then someone's like, "Oh yeah, it's like clickbait. I didn't find this exact title in the thing. Like I used AI to whatever." And it was like, boy, oh boy. It's like if I just use like 10 descriptive keywords on this, it would have like 100 views. That's how YouTube works. So newsflash to anybody, this is not how humans work. Like it doesn't just work like, okay, I'm gonna Peter Dunworth, AI, macro thoughts, whatever. Like no one would watch the video. So that's not how it works. You have to engage the human brain to understand what is happening and to want to click the video. And then if you watch the whole video, which it's like you watch this for 90 minutes of Peter Dunworth speaking and you didn't get anything out of this other than I didn't see the exact title because it was one word off or something like that. Like, yes, it's a play on words and it's the theme of the show. This is how can I wrap up 90 minutes inside of 55 characters or where you want to try to get under 55 characters. It's usually the best just for the human brain. Again, so there's so much that goes into the titles. I would probably write like 200 or 300 titles for every single video that comes out. The live streams less, probably like 10 or 20, but then like the podcast for our guests, I have hundreds of titles, hundreds that we write for every single one that I write for every single one and going through like, would this work? Do I think that would work? Like, would this get, what would my mom think if she saw this title? What would Marty Bent think, or Matt Odell? What would someone think that's been in Bitcoin for a long time, or Pierre Rochard, or Jason Leibowitz, or what would someone who's never been in Bitcoin? What would they think when they're scrolling through? Because that's part of it too. Is as Bitcoiners, you're fighting the fiat world in 1,000 different ways. So most people that see the videos nowadays, they are on the browsing screen. So you're on your phone browsing, or you're on the home screen like on a TV, and you're browsing through a bunch of videos. And guess what you're fighting with? You're fighting with S-coin, altcoin garbage, the Gemini full card interview about some, scammy thing that's going, 1,000x to the moon. So you're fighting the human brain to get that person not to click that video that's going to scam them. And then you're fighting like Kim Kardashian's chest over here in the next video and to the side, and then above it is this video. So like it comes in a grid, obviously, on the bigger like laptops or TV screens, and then on your phone, that's obviously more isolated. But this is the psychology that goes behind trying to get someone to click, whether you're a hodler and you're trying to harden your conviction, and you're not. I don't want you to get distracted because again, I'm a consumer of YouTube too. So you get distracted. You get distracted by reels or whatever other garbage is out there in the world. And that YouTube is brilliant at trying to distract you from what you need, what the actual information you need. So how can we place it in a way that actually gets someone to click and get the information they need? So I should clip that out and then like play that around because it's so frustrating. You have people that just, you watch 90 minutes of that, apparently, probably not. And that's what you got out of it. Mind blowing, absolutely mind blowing. So boy, AI help me compress some of the high points. The cost of basis swap is curious. Yeah, I want to, I still like, I think I have it, Oliver. And then I'm like, okay, yeah. So I'll have him on. hopefully the next couple of weeks I'll have him on a live stream and we can chat about it more. And because it's like, yeah, I've listened to it at least twice now, and it makes sense when I go through it. I'm like, oh, okay, but then like I walk away and I'm like, oh yeah, how was that again? So, but I'm interested because I am starting to go through that process. So I'm gonna be learning more about it. We'll have him on, like I said, we'll have him on a live stream. Copy and paste the transcript for the title. Yeah, that's literally what I mean. It's like it's the wildest thing because the people that will like say stuff, and this is not just my videos. You see it in like Simply Bitcoin's videos or Bram's or Robin Sears or Natalie's videos or whoever else, Stefan Livera's, Marty Bent's video, TFTC's video. You see it everywhere. And it's just like it's so frustrating because like as a Bitcoiner you can't win. It's like no one wants to see you succeed except this small pocket of society, and that you're trying to also harden the hodler's conviction. And also, how do we reach the average person? How do I go out there and reach the average person to get what they need? And so you're trying to bridge that gap somehow from this world to the 99%. So how do we engage the average person? The average person doesn't know what is going on in Bitcoin. They don't know anything. That's why you see so much of like the 0.1 Bitcoin, or you see so much price talk, or you see a lot of fear-based things or whatever. It's because that's how humans work. It's fear and greed. Humans only work in that way. If you say, hey, we're going to teach people how to, run a node right now, or whatever it is, those videos are out there and they will get their views over time, but that's not where the average person comes to initially. Like the average guy and gal doesn't come in saying, I want to run a node, or hey, where's the hardware wallets? They don't know these things exist. So how do you get them to shift their context and then get them into that world? Okay, now you're going to BTC sessions. Now you're going to Ian Major's channel. And now you're going, like you gotta get in the top of the funnel first and get people down, get them down the rabbit hole. So anyway, yeah, it's just frustrating. But again, Sparkling Horns, like you said, it's copy and paste the transcript is literally what people think. Like you did a different title and it wasn't, the transcript of the thing. It's like, yeah, that's not how it works. And then the same people would bitch and be like, oh, like you got 100 views on your show. It's like, yeah, because I did what you said. I just pasted the transcript, and now I wasted my guest time. I wasted my time. I wasted my editor's time. I wasted everyone's time. And now just some shows get 50,000 views, 100,000 views, and some get 100 views and 1,000 views even today. Yeah, they do. I mean, different topics are different. Every guest is different. The sentiment of the crowd is different. Obviously, the last couple of months have been way different. People have been way down the dumps. And so videos in general aren't. I mean, you look across the board in all of Bitcoin, all the video views are down because a lot of people they got shaken out. They're pissed off. They're broke. They hate Bitcoin all of a sudden, so you're trying to harden the time. I love these times. These are my favorite times, but it is tough. It makes it hard. So the attention economy is cutthroat. Yes, it is. It really is. We should talk off stream. Yeah, we should. We should definitely get linked up here off stream. You can chat about, give me your thoughts about Meanwhile and whatever else. So I think my email, just shoot me an email. I think my email is on the YouTube channel, I believe. Yeah. I think my email is on here. It's just Brandon Gentili 811 at Gmail. So it should be on the YouTube channel. So shoot me an email and we can chat. Appreciate you guys. Let's get out of here. Enjoy the evening. We'll talk tomorrow sometime. We'll get after it. Go check out the Peter Dunworth video if you're not, and the Joe Consorti video, because they are super awesome guys. And I want to, I'll figure it out. Yeah. Oh man, I love it. Anyway, go check those videos out. They're awesome videos. Those guys are super smart. They're way smarter than I am. They can talk all the numbers. I know Neil will not like me for saying that, but they talk all the numbers, where Bitcoin is coming from, why it's doing what it's doing, and where it's going forward. They have different ways of getting there, but very similar stories. So go check those out. Good night. You can't go. All the plants are going to die. We will see you guys